Vietnam. Today, we would like to present our assignment 1. Totally, we have 5 members. The first one is Nguyễn Ngọc Thị Loan. The second member is Thị Kim Hoàn. The third one is me, Tùng. The fourth one is Nguyễn Như Tâm Bình, and the last one is Miss Trần Thị Tuyền. So we will begin with our topic. Identify the changes of the laptop category in retail industry has undergone as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. So we will start with the table of contents. For the introduction, me will present this part. And for the next one, 2.1 is the demand curve and shift of demand curve, which will be presented by Miss Nhu Tam Binh Nguyen. And 2.2 is supply curve, shift of supply curve, and elasticity of supply, which presented by Miss Nhu Tam Binh Nguyen. And 2.3 is price elasticity of demand and supply by Miss Hoan Do. And 2.4 is inflation, which is presented by me. And 2.5 is the recession part, which is presented by Miss Tuyen Tran. 2.6 is unemployment by Miss Tuyen Tran. And 2.7 is any international issues or developments that might affect the industry by Miss Loan Nguyen. And the last part is the conclusion, which is presented by me. So we will start with the introduction. As you know, the COVID-19 pandemic caused significant changes in economies, including shift in supply and demand across various sectors, especially in the technology market. For example, the demand for laptops surged globally as remote work and online education became prevalent. In the Vietnam market, you can see the laptop category experienced a notable increase in demand due to its affordability and performance, fitting the needs of students and professionals working from home. The pandemic disrupted global supply chains, affecting both the availability of raw materials and production process, which resulted in shift in supply and demand. Top laptop brands in Vietnam market faced supply constraints due to factory shutdowns and logistics bottlenecks, limiting the ability to meet the high demand. This mismatch in supply and demand affected the price elasticity of laptop, where demand remained high despite price fluctuation because consumers needed these products urgently. In terms of price elasticity of demand and supply, top laptop brands in Vietnam saw relatively elastic demand, meaning that even as prices increased due to limited supply, consumers continued to purchase them. On the supply side, the elasticity was constrained by external factors such as production limitations and shipping delays, making it difficult for companies to quickly adjust their output to meet soaring demand. So you can see on the larger scale, macroeconomic factors like inflation, recession, and employment play a crucial role in the shopping industry during the pandemic. In the initial months, recession freed many economies, leading to decrease in consumer purchasing power. However, as inflation increased due to supply chain disruption, the price of electronic goods, including laptops, rose. Unemployment also spiked globally, which shifted consumer priorities toward essential purchase. Yet technology remained a necessity with keeping demand for products like top laptop brands in Vietnam markets steady despite further economic challenges. This shift demonstrated the pandemic's wide-ranging impact on both consumer behavior and company operation. Therefore, today our group will identify the changes the economy has undergone as the result of the COVID-19 pandemic. So we will go to the next part, which presented by Miss Nhu Tam Binh Nguyen, include 2 parts, 2.1 the demand curve and shift of demand curve, and a 2.2 supply curve, shift of supply curve, and elasticity of supply.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Ms. Tung. So now I will share my slide from my part. Yeah, so first of all, I'd like to make clear about the data sources and time frame. All the demand sources are collected from GfK reports, and all the figures for supply are imported data collected from Vietnam Customs, and all these figures are paid officially, so we can rely on those figures. And the time frame we chose to analyze 3 years from 2021, 22, and 23. So here is a standard data structure of a JFK report. The scale or laptop sales of retailers at 8 provinces of Vietnam through year 2021, 22, and 23. These are charts and figures of laptop sold by those Vietnamese retailers during 2021, and in which we will analyze the number in year-to-date sales unit, monthly sales unit, and previous year growth ratio in sales unit to see how demand curve was and shifted during the year. And one point here is that the price for analyzing demand curve is average price per unit that retailers sell to the end user. Now we will start with the demand happened in 2021. You know, Vietnam was suffered from COVID-19 since March of 2020. However, it was not locked down until April of 2021. Hence, from January to April of 2021, the demand curve followed the normal rule. There was a negative relationship between price and demand. When the price increased, the demand decreased, and when the price decreased, the demand increased. For example, the average price in February was decreased from 17.6 million dong to 16.4 million dong. So the quantity significantly increased from 47,000 to 62,000 units. This is because February usually our Tet holiday season, then all suppliers had promotion programs to decrease the price for pushing demand. And when the price increased up to 18.2 million dong in April, the demand quickly dropped from 61.7 thousand to 54,000 units. And things changed from May when Vietnamese government started to control domestic travel. People was restricted to go out for working, so they need to have laptop for remote working instead of using desktop at the company. So the result was the price increased, but the demand also increased significantly. The demand curve now shifted to rightward and became elastic when the price increased only 1.4% and the demand increased 48%. After May of 2021, Vietnam applied lockdown. All the people were not allowed to go out. So the shipping, also the imported logistic activity was strongly impacted. That led to a long delay when delivering laptop to people who want to buy a new laptop. During those times, people had to wait weeks or even a month to be able to buy a new laptop. So although the need of laptop was high, but the demand figures decreased in comparison with months before lockdown. And the price continues increase until end of 2021. The demand curve drastically shifted rightward after lockdown since September, and the price had a slight decreasing. Demand now became elastic again. People were back to work and need to buy new laptops for online and remote working. Education changed from offline to online, and nearly 100 schools, universities need to buy laptops. The situation seemed back to normal in December 21, but demand still stayed at high level in comparison with the beginning of the year. So we have three conclusions here about the demand curve and shape of demand curve in 2021. Before the lockdown, there was a negative relationship between the quantity and the price, and demand characteristically shifted rightward and high elastic. But during the lockdown, there was a positive relation when the price increased, but the demand also increased, and the demand curve shifted to leftward due to logistic barriers. And also after lockdown, there was a negative relationship between the quantity and the price, and the demand curve shifted rightward significantly. Now we come to the year of 2022. As shown in the overall sales of 2022, the previous year gross sales ratio year to date was 64.6%. So it means the total demand of the whole year of 2022 was too much higher than 2021. However, if carefully look down on the monthly figures, we can see the demand suddenly dropped since March due to laptop market saturation. People bought much laptop during the year before, and life cycle of one laptop was minimum 3 years. And after lockdown, business went down. People tend to save money for essential goods, and at the same time, the laptop sellers and manufacturers keep increasing the price due to high cost of production and transportation. The demand curve were back to normal rule since February, with negative relation between demand and price. Since August, after months being suffered from low demands due to market saturation, retailers must decrease the price to clear stock. And also on the occasion of back to school season, the demand became much elastic. And as you can see, between August and September, the price decreased only nearly 100,000 dongs, but the demand increased from 70,000 units to 91,400 units. Or the demand suddenly dropped from 87 units to 56,000 units when the price increased only around 800,000 dongs. So the conclusion here we can have is during the peak of pandemic, there was a negative relationship between the demand and the price, and it occurred during some short periods. However, in general, it was unstable and switched from positive to negative with no rule due to change of consumer trends and the supply chain disruption make people have no more options, so consumers was forced to buy laptop at any level of price. So now we come to the final part of the demand with the numbers from 2023. As you can see, the previous year growth ratio both in sales unit and value of this year decreased much. So it means that the demand curve of 2023 shifted to leftward in comparison with in comparison with 2022. However, if we look through monthly demand within only 1 year, I mean 2023, the demand tended to shift rightward from the beginning of the year, I mean from the January to the end of the year. The demand followed the rule and had negative relationship with price during quarter one. And however, it became inelastic during the Q2 when the price decreased, but the demand nearly the same. Since the Q3, retailers try to pushing demand by decreasing price, and demand drastically increased. So there were 2 points we can conclude here. The first one is that the demand curve of 2023 shifted leftward in comparison with 2022. However, within the year, the demand curve shifted rightward quarterly among Q2 to Q3 and among Q3 to Q4. After high peak of pandemic, the demand curve back to normal and had a negative relationship with price because people bought enough laptops for their need during the pandemic time, and now they just choose to buy extra laptop if it had suitable price in comparison with their budget. The second part we will share today is the supply, shift of supply curve and elasticity of the supply. So here are the supply figures and trend during the first year, I mean the 2021. These are total amount of laptop imported into Vietnam during 2021, and the price we use to analyze here. This is the most important point. The price we use to analyze here will be the imported price that the manufacturers sell to local retailers. That is totally different from the price that the retailers sell to the end user that we already used to analyze for the demand in previous slides. And as we can and as we can see on the slide, the trend of supply during 2021 was constantly increased. And it's also it was obvious since May, and it's increased much since July of 21 due to the high demand of those time. As we can see here, laptop imported during the year was around 1.8 million units, and only 6 months from July to December, the imported number were approximately 1.3 million units. It means it contributed more than 70 quantity of the whole year. And the normal rules of supply curve, I mean the positive relationship between price and supply, was clearly shown from April to July. During those time, due to high demand of local market and the shortage of input material because of supply chain disruption, the production cost increased and supplies also increased. But the rest of the year, most of the time, the price and the supply had a negative relationship. It means even the price may increase, but the supply decrease, and vice versa. The supply decrease, but the supply increase, but the price decrease. So let's looking at the supply in February and March. The importing price decreased, but supply significant increase. The importing price decreased, but the supply significant increase. It was the result of forecasting from retailers and local distributor based on the local holiday season during February and March. Normally, the retailers and local distributor tend to stock more before and after Tet holiday to get discount from manufacturer. When local retailers increase order from manufacturers, or manufacturers tend to decrease the price for competing with other brands, because as you can see, there are many laptop brands in Vietnam. Besides that, with increasing orders from local distributor, manufacturer could optimize their own profits, because with big amount of production, input costs such as material or producing chipset could be lower. So supply from January to April increased not only because of price, but also because having more suppliers join the market, as well as because the demand increased. And the second period since September 21, when Vietnamese government lifted lockdown, as share local demand significantly increased, more than double, from 50,000 units to 122 units. All retailers increased their orders, and all laptop brands increased their production 2 months in advance after knowing the plan of lifting the lockdown. When having many suppliers compete with each other, price was getting down. However, just after 2 months, the input material shortage appeared and the price was back to increase. So the supply curve shifted rightward much since July and became high elastic, when price increased only 2%, but the supply increased 23%. So here we can have 3 conclusions. The first is a positive relation between supply and price clearly stayed from April to July. And the beginning of lockdown time and supply chain disruption. But most of the time, the supply had negative with price due to having many substitute products when having many suppliers join the market and due to competition among suppliers to win the contracts with local distributors by offering better discount price. And since July of 2021, supply curve shifted rightward and became high elastic. As you can see the number, the elastic of supply here, the price elastic of supply here is 11.5 from June to July. And if we compare the demand and supply during the year, the supply were always higher than the demand. This was because based on the increasing of the demand, more sellers and suppliers joined the market and increased their supply to compete and win the market share. And in this case, it was main reason caused the supply increased much and the surplus appeared during 2021 truthfully half. The average price for the end user increased not much during the year despite of the pandemic. Now we came to the supply of the 2022. Together with downtrend of the consumption of the year, the imported laptop supply in Vietnam also decreased. So it means the supply curve of 2022 shifted to leftward in comparison with 2021 and shifted leftward quarterly within the year. And now, let's putting it together with the demand curve of the year. We can see on the chart, the important point here is that despite of supply chain disruption, during the year of 2021, supply was significantly much higher than demand. Supply was even nearly 4 times higher than demand on January of 2022. This led to extremely surplus. And as stated in the previous slide, together with increasing in demand and high supply came from expectation upon brands to increase their sales. And the fact is that most of US laptop brands such as Dell, HP, Apple had a long-term contracts with input and chipset suppliers to ensure their production capacity at least 1 or 2 years. Before Q2, no brands cut their production and keep pushing local distributor importing laptops, and in returns, brands would apply discount for retailers and local distributor. High production demand at the same time of all brands, together with supply chain disruption, create a serious shortage of input and chipsets material, and it became more serious after Q1 of the 2022. And as you can see, since the Q2 of the 2022, orders made from local distributors were late to be delivered. Some local distributors had to wait until next quarter to receive the goods they ordered in the current one. That's why we see the supply static to decrease in the Q2 of the year. And at the same time, since August of 2022, the demand started to increase because it was beginning of the back to school season, and after month, I mean, due to the supply chains disruption, all the orders were delivered late. So there is a sudden shortage appear in the August. So after months, as you can see, the supplies were the first time lower than the demand. And on the September, as you can see, all the late orders were delivered once on the September. So the supplier of September significant rise were, and so the supply curve suddenly shifted to the rightward on the September. So we have some conclusion here. The first one is that the high surplus before Q1 of the 2022 was due to high expectation from all suppliers. And the positive relation between supply and price were not constantly stated during the year. And the serious shortage of input and chipset materials led to a supply shock in August of the year when the price increased much, but the supplier could not provide enough products for the market. And regarding the price elasticity of the supply here, there, as we can see, there was a negative value for the price elasticity of the supply from April to May and also from August to September. Finally, we look at the paragraph of supply on the 2023, and as you can see, also the general trend was increasing. However, we can see that it was unstable supply because it had a high peak in both sides up and down. It dictated that the supply curve shifted much rightward and also much leftward within the year. So if we put it together with the demand, we will see an interesting picture. The most important point here is that there was no more stable surplus as years before. Even during the high peak of pandemic in 2021, supply was mostly higher than demand. However, half of the time of during 2023, supply was lower than demand, and the shortage happened during months. So these we can call the supply shock, and this supply shock was explained due to three following reasons. The first one is that there was a competition among the laptop manufacturers when Chinese laptop brands tried to win the contracts with cheap production from US laptop brands. And so most of the US laptop brands faced with shortage of chipset material, and is strategically affected on their production capacity. For example, their laptop. The fact is that during the year 2023, the stock of Dell laptop in local distributor warehouse were nearly zero. But however, at the same time, the production capacity of Chinese brands such as Acer, Lenovo were not big enough to cover the whole Vietnamese consumption market. So as a consequence of the above reason, many laptop brands faced with revenue drop and had to restructure their local sales to cut costs. The change happened many times during the year of 2023. Layoff among the big laptops such as Dell, HP, etc., significantly affected on the supply of the laptop to the local market. So that's the end of my presentation.
Yeah, thank you, Miss Bình. My name is Kim Hoàn. I want to present about elasticity of demand and supply for laptop in 3 periods: pre-COVID, during COVID, and post-COVID. Right elasticity of demand and right elasticity of supply. That serve as measure how responsive quantity demand is supply to a change in right. Several factors influence the elasticity, and the COVID-19 pandemic significantly impacted many of them. Firstly, in pre-COVID, I want to show some factors including for right elasticity of demand first. Firstly, that is available of substitute such as something like tablets and mobile phones can rely for laptop. Second one is necessity for work and education, and the last one is from income level. And I would like to say for a factor influence about right elasticity of supply, production and capacity depend on their capacity low or high can be seen for right elasticity of demand. The last one in which cost such as component labor cost. For right elasticity of demand and right elasticity supply, relatively inelastic. Because before COVID time, laptop was considered a necessity for many, especially students and professionals. A rise in rate would not significantly reduce demand. And right elasticity supply also the same. Production of laptop involve complex supply chain, and adjusting production level weekly in response to right chain can be challenging. And in during COVID time, I would like to say some factors including right elasticity demand. With more people remote work and education, the shift of remote work and online education in great demand for laptop, making it highly inelastic. Besides that, supply chain disruption also must limit supply and higher right right elasticity demand. In addition, government also have many issues like provide additional income to customer and raise demand for laptop too. And I would like to say about factor influence right elasticity supply for each from production disruption, factory closure, and supply chain issue release by elasticity supply too. And factor in also important select inventory adjustment. Some company adjust their inventory level and to meet challenge demand. That's affecting right elasticity supply too much. We can go inside to know the reason. During COVID time, right elasticity of demand, I think how many it's not stable. Sometimes it's in rate elasticity. At the beginning, remote work and online learning became widespread. Demand for laptops surged, and it led to a relatively elastic demand cost. It means many customers must feel more sensitive to ride chain. If the ride rose too high, customers might have delayed purchase or sought out cheaper alternative. It also happened for my case. In that time, I also had demand to buy a laptop for my kids learn at home, and I must wait too late, and the ride also rose too high, so I delayed my decision. Another thing happened, so that modern rating elasticity, time by time, the pandemic reset and supply chain issue were addressed. The elasticity of demand for laptop might have moderated due to factor like customer adaptation. Special time you can see in around September 2021, customers start to adjust their budget for their needs for laptop. Besides that, I also some urgency too much the demand in rate. Remote work at home, much the demand for laptop might become less urgent. Right, elasticity for supply also not stable. Sometimes decrease and sometimes increase. During the early stage of balanced supply chain description, component shortage and factories closure, the reason must relatively in elastic supply cost. It means products were unable in rate output in response residing demand. Rise low due to limit supply, and sometimes it's in rate elasticity. The boundaries reset and supply chain issue was resolved. Elasticity of supply for laptop likely in rate due to factor in rate reduction capacity. Many factories they need to expand their reduction facility or improve their process to meet with the high demand, and inventory accumulation, and they also build up inventory to make sure for anything happen in the future, because we don't know when the COVID will be controlled. So I will say after COVID, right elasticity of demand and supply elasticity. Elasticity, I think so, because now factory want to enrich their quantity, so the ride is more cheaper. That much the demand, the right elasticity of demand and right elasticity of supply, more elasticity. It depends on some factor from income and from some government policy in that time around end of 2023. Finally, I want to have something like the COVID pandemic right elasticity of demand and supply for laptop, channel loss and not stable, and finally that's and I think it's help for the business now to have a better way to control in that time. That is my reason.
Thank you very much, Ms. Hoan Nguyen, with Ms. Hoan Do. And the next one is my presentation about the point 2.4 inflection. Okay. As you can see, the COVID-19 pandemic significantly affected macroeconomic factors in Vietnam's laptop market, particularly in terms of inflation. Inflation, which reflects the general rise in prices of goods and services, played a key role in shaping the laptop market during three distinct time frames: the onset of the pandemic, the peak period, and the recovery phase. And you can see here is the graph about the inflation rate changes in Vietnam from 2020 to 2023. Okay, and you can see on the chart, here's the line presented 4 years, 2020, 2023. At 2020, the year 2020 was marked by the complex development of the COVID-19 pandemic, which significantly impacted the growth of various sectors and individuals and industries. The inflation rate is at 3.23%. And you can see the inflation was impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic, causing disruptions in supply chains and negatively affecting the global economy. In 2021, despite being affected by the Russia-Ukraine conflict and global supply chain bottlenecks during the COVID-19 pandemic, Vietnam's inflation was still well controlled. With an inflation rate of 1.84%, Vietnam stood as a countercurrent amidst the global trends of high inflation. Inflation was lower due to the prolonged effects of the pandemic and the control of fuel prices. In 2022, inflation rose again, the economy gradually recovered, and global fuel and raw material prices surged. The inflation rate is at 3.50%. Inflation rose again, the economy gradually recovered, and global fuel and raw materials prices surged. In 2023, as you see, currently, Vietnam is among the few countries in the world with an average inflation rate of 4 to 6%. In 2023, the inflation rate showed a slight increase to 3.25%, reaching the set target. Inflation is estimated to continue increasing due to the pressure from economic recovery and energy price fluctuation. And here's in the detail that I just mentioned. And I also present the inflation rate changes influence laptop demand in Vietnam at 3 stages. The first stage is onset of the pandemic from the early 2020. The peak of the pandemic is stage 2 from mid 2020, 2022, and recovery phase from the middle of 2023 at the stage 3. Before the onset of the pandemic, at the state of the pandemic, there was a sudden spike in demand for laptops due to the rapid shift to remote work and online education. In the Vietnam market, top laptop brand experienced high demand. However, supply chain disruption caused by factory shutdowns, global shipping delays, and restriction on imports resulted to limited availability. As supply struggled to meet demand, inflationary pressure began to build. The shortage of components like microchips further contributed to higher production costs, which were passed on to consumers. During this time, the market saw moderate increase in prices, and supply constraints led to an imbalance with demand. At the second stage, peak of the pandemic, and you can see as the pandemic continued, inflation in the laptop market became more pronounced. The global supply chain remained disrupted, but demand stayed high. Top laptop brands offered competitive pricing, yet saw the largest price increases as manufacturers faced continued cost hike. in raw materials and logistics. The depreciation of the Vietnam dollar and the rising import costs also fuel inflation. With consumers' demand still robust, particularly from students and remote workers, the price elasticity of demand was relatively low, meaning that price increase did not significantly reduce demand, as laptops became essential goods. And at the third stage is the recovery phase. In the recovery phase, inflation pressures began to stabilize, but did not completely subside. Global supply chains slowly improved, and production ramped up to meet demand. However, lingering effects of inflation, such as elevated shipping costs and shortages of certain components, continue to keep laptop prices higher than pre-pandemic levels. Consumers in Vietnam remain cautious as overall inflation in the economy affected purchasing power, but laptops demand remains a priority due to their role in education and businesses. In conclusion, inflation during the pandemic reshaped the laptop industry in Vietnam. While the initial supply-demand imbalance caused moderate price increases, the peak of the pandemic saw sharper inflation due to sustained demand and constant supply. Even in the recovery phase, inflation's long-lasting effects continue to influence prices, though with less intensity. The top laptop brands in Vietnam highlights how inflation as a macroeconomic factors impacted pricing and consumer behavior during different phases of the pandemic. And the next part is presented by Ms. Tuyen Tran, the point 2.5 recession and 2.6 unemployment.
Thanks, Tung. And so now let's see how do changing macroeconomic factors as a recession and unemployment rates will affect on the retail market, especially in the laptop catalog. And as we can see in the line charts, is a laptop import statistic report in Vietnam market from 2021 to 2024. And regarding the quantity of laptop which import in Vietnam, after the big period of import due to the impact of and demand for work from 2021 and 2022, which caused a demand shock at that time, and the quantity of import then declined rapidly and remained low since the second quarter of 2022. And for the price, as we can see, in the first year after the pandemic, from 2022 and 2023, come from several main reasons. The first one we have to mention is that component shortages. Ongoing shortages of key components have to lead to delays and increased costs for technology products. Let's look back. And semiconductors are small components that are essential in the range of products, including, like a bridge, car, smartphone, and of course, laptop are no exception. At the time, COVID-19 pandemic caused significant disruption in the production of supply chain and chips because consumers are trapped at home and promoting a certain need for products such as a laptop and PC. Lack of the widespread chip is one of the main reasons for the sudden increase in component costs. And another obvious reason is logistic challenges. Disruptions in shipping and logistics have affected the timely availability of the product in the resale store, which lead to supply shock situation from 2022 and 2023. And in the next slide, we can see similar in the term of price.
we can see in the line chart, the laptop industry is experiences significant recession, with both the quantity and the price of laptop shown sharply declining from the end of 2022 through the fourth quarter of 2023, and subsequently remaining at the very low level. And in addition to the objective factors stemming from the international situation, consumers at this stage are also recovering after a prolonged period of pandemic, leading them to prioritize essential needs such as food and housing, other secondary demand. And when in the next slide, when we put quantity and selling price together. So Tung, please help me go to, yeah, thank you. And so when we put quantity and selling price together by comparing the period before, during, and especially after the pandemic, we can observe significant change in production price and the quantity shown from retailer in Vietnam. And they can be explained by a number of actions and minimizing the recession. Firstly is supplementing from manufacturers and substitution effect in the retail business. Consumers tend to choose models with higher value and quality compared to the difficult times when there were limited option during the pandemic time. And secondly, is a rebalancing supply and demand. The supply chains disrupted during the pandemic have gradually been restored, and product supplies have been adjusted accordingly. And as a result, pricing policy have become more competitive to meet the demand and adapt to consumer budget post pandemic. And when we look in the bar chart, we can see about the in the how unemployment rate and the income will affect on the demand of laptop in Vietnam. The number of the unemployment rate peaked in 2021 at a pandemic situation become increasingly so, and despite statistics showing that average income did not decline, spending needs were relative low, and the highest cycle unemployment rate were concentrated in the large cities, with the most affected labor segment being low-income freelancing or seasonal worker. And when we look closer into 2021, the year has a high peak of unemployment rate. We can see that the number of unemployed rate individual in this age group in the third quarter of 2022 were over 1.8 million, and increase of 700,000 and 300 compared to the previous quarter, and increase of 620,000 compared to the same period last year. And the unemployment rate among the working age population in urban area were higher than in rural area, 5.33% compared to 3.94% 2021, with 2022 is 1.96% and 3.14% respectively. And in conclusion, we can see that despite the significant impact on the certain industry, in the unemployment rate, on the spending ability, the laptop industry in Vietnam continue to experience remarkable growth due to the essential needs for a laptop during a time when they have become almost mandatory for work requirements. And the next, for the next, Miss Loan will have us, take a look how the international issue impact on the industry in Vietnam.
Hello guys, thanks a lot for your registration. So now we will move to the next part. Sorry, wait for a while. Okay, we will move to the next part. The international issue or development that might affect the supply and demand of laptop in Vietnam. Following these sessions, we will divide into two periods, which are during a pandemic and non-pandemic. First period, during a pandemic. As you know, the COVID-19 disease gradually spread in the world in 2020. Some forecasts about the economic growth were indicated. According to the IMF, the roads were minus with the various rates depending on the route of the country. Besides, this is a graph showing the number that is summarized by GfK. In conclusion, the quantity of demand every year typically lower than the quantity of supply. In 2021, both supply and demand increased dramatically. However, the increasing rate of supply was almost double the increasing rate of demand and continued to the beginning of 2022, leading to the loss of equilibrium and stability between supply and demand. We are together now analyze these barriers based on two factors. First factor is will be about the supply chain. As analyzed from our team, according to the data from the GfK, the growth of the demand is like corresponding with the growth of the price due to the shortage and descriptions of supply. Following the report by ITIF in 2020, China as the world's leading manufacturer in most important industries. And following the ASPI in 2023, China is one of the top leading the world in key and emerging technologies. Thus, lockdown started in China in 2020 and then spread to other countries affected to the supply in Vietnam. And then Vietnam government restricted operations from the beginning of 2021 and officially locked down from May to September 2021. As you can see from the information displayed in the slide, the quantity of supply typically is around 60% and above of the quantity of demand. However, due to the factory shutdown and also shipping restrictions or port closure, this has exacerbated laptop and components shortages. Particularly in Vietnam, retailers order following the forecast of demand, hence supply chain descriptions led to the unpredictable increase in supply and unstable shift in the market. Now we move to the next periods that will be non-pandemic periods. We have two factor for this part. So the first factor will be about this one first. So the second part of the pandemic duration is would be about the consumer behavior change. Many people work from home and engage in online learning. Demand for laptop spikes, often outspacing supply. There was the increase of interest in high-performance laptops because they have no free time, like for gaming, video comprehension, or productivity tool. And then lockdown restrictions on movement or physical store closed went hand in hand with the increase in demand for service, and digital product, leading to the e-commerce grow until now and resulting the increase in demand for laptop and accessory. Shift in consumer behavior combined with descriptions of transport stations led to the spike increase in the last 4 months of 2021. The supplier forecasted the purchasing powers based on the data from the end of 2021, which caused an increase in inventory in early 2022. The demand quantity was less than 50%, peaking at 30% of supply quantity. So now we will move to periods. That means the non-pandemic. At the same factory, at the same factor with have two factors at the same with the pandemic periods, like economic indicator and technology advancement. So now we'll go with the first factor, economic indicator. In relation to the first factor, based on the theory learned, a strong economy on recovered economy boosts consumer spending on. In these situations, electronics are symbolize the economy is growing, worker income increasing, leading to the affordability increasing, and there is a surplus in the demand for the consuming what they like is increasing. And on the opposite side, a downturn can lead to decreased demand. Additionally, as you can see, the data displayed on the line, back to school seasons or holiday sales in quarter 3 and quarter 4 can temporarily increase the demand. In relation to the second factor, launch a new models or technological innovations, for example, better processor, enhanced graphic, ultra book, etc. Shift demand as consumers seek the latest technology. For example, Apple usually updates its product lineup during its fall event in September, and this may affect positively the demand this month in Vietnam market in particular, and the world's market in general. This is all the information that we want to deliver to this part. Now we will move to the last part, conclusions, which will presented by Mr. Tung.
Thank you very much for your presentation, Ms. T. Loan Nguyen. So now we go to the last part of this presentation, which is the conclusion. In the conclusion, the laptop category in retailer industry in Vietnam market experienced significant changes due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Shifts in supply and demand were driven by increased remote work and online education. While supply chain disruption caused shortages, these factors affected the price elasticity of demand and supply, where despite rising prices, demand for laptops remained strong. Additionally, macroeconomic factors like inflation, recession, and employment influenced the industry during 3 phases: initial shortages, peak price inflation, and recovery. These changes highlight how the pandemic reshaped the markets, requiring adaptability to ongoing economic challenges and consumer needs. Thank you very much, Sir, Madam Professors from Golden Gate University, for listening carefully our presentation. From Group 5, we come from Vietnam. And thank you very much once again for listening to our topic, our presentation, according to assignment 1 today. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, and